Hello, hjärtligt välkomna! Today we're going to look at how to make a folded hem or a folded cuff, both from knitting top down and bottom up. I'm using this technique in many of my patterns, and I've had a lot of questions about the instructions. It's a bit hard to explain in text, so I'm making a video to show you how to do it. This is my Estra pattern, and it has a folded hem here around the neck, and I'm doing it by knitting from here up and then folding and casting up through the back side. I'm also using this technique in my Zelda pattern, which is top down and knitting all the way down and then casting up through the back side, making the hem at the bottom folded. I'm going to show you with this woolly sock yarn, which is quite big, so it's not going to take me a long time to work the samples.
Now let's imagine that we're going to do a sleeve and we want a folded cuff. We're working the sleeve from the cuff and then up. So the first thing that we want to do is fold the cuff, and then we're going to work both through the stitches and through the cast on edge on the back side. So we want to work this on a knit row. It's the easiest. And we're going to look at the back side, and here we can see the cast on edge where we're going to go through. So we work through the stitch and then find the corresponding place on the back side where we're going to knit together and go through there, work a stitch and through the other stitch. And then the same thing with the second stitch, through the stitch, through the cast on edge, and then through the stitch, through the cast on edge. And the reason we're doing this on a knit row because it's a lot easier. So even if you're doing a stitch pattern, it might be best to do one row with only knit stitches and then start the stitch pattern. There, and now you can see that the cuff is folded and there's a hole right through, so you have to seam there. And this is how it looks on the back side. You can see the row where we have folded it double. It is like a seam, but it's a lot stretchier. And this is how the edge looks. So here is what it looks like now. There is a thicker folded hem, and I've worked some rows of stockinette just to show what it looks like. And on the back side it looks like this. This is the row where we folded. And now I also want to show you how to cast off from the back side. So here we have a sleeve worked in stockinette and then a cuff at the bottom, as if we're working a sleeve top down to the cuff. And then we want to cast off, creating the edge folded. So we're going to fold the edge the same as before, but folding it only to the ribbing. And then we're going to work both through the stitch and through a row on the back side. So we go through the stitch and then we find a P-stitch where you can go through on the back side. So through the stitch and find a purl stitch and work through, and then cast off when you have worked 2 stitches. And we're working all stitches knit, since this is the back side, so it won't look any different. So just to make it easy, we work all stitches knit. Through the stitch and then a purl stitch on the back side, and cast off, trying to find the corresponding purl stitch. You can double check by following with your finger from the stitch you're working and to the back side and see where it ends up, to see that you're near the right stitch. And try to remember to cast off quite loose, so that the edge will be stretchy. And this is what it will look like when you're done. There you can see the cast off row. And this is what it looks like from the front.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something new, and that following my patterns will be a lot easier. And this is me signing off. Thank you. You watched Saga Midas Design.